Good morning, everyone. Hope you are all fine. So today we are going to learn about the basics of radio wave propagation. Earlier in this course, we have studied how an antenna radiates, basics of antenna parameters like gain, directivity, efficiency, radiation pattern, etc. And then the techniques for the measurement of the antenna parameters. And in third module, we have studied the concept of antenna arrays. That is, by using array of antennas, that's a group of antennas, we can change the directivity, gain, radiation pattern, etc. according to our need. The fourth and fifth module, there are some common practically used antennas like parabolic antenna, parabolic dish antenna, patch antennas, horn antenna, V antenna, etc. And in the sixth module, they're mainly interested in the area between transmitter and the receiver antenna. That is, how propagation of radio wave or the electromagnetic wave happens in the atmosphere. So, there are three modes of propagation. The first one is the ground wave or surface wave propagation. The second one, the sky wave or ionospheric propagation. The third one, the space wave propagation. Regarding the ground wave and the space wave, you have studied earlier and I have received the lecture notes. And the next one is the sky wave or the ionospheric propagation. So before going to the ionospheric propagation or the sky wave propagation, we need to know more about the structure of ionosphere. Okay. And this mode of propagation largely depends upon the frequency of operation and the distance between the transmitter and the receiver antenna. Regarding the frequency, we need to know about the basic frequency bands. So, we can see that the ground wave propagation is predominant up to medium frequency, that is up to around 2 megahertz. And the sky wave propagation is predominantly used in high frequency HF, that is 3 to 30 megahertz. And above that, that is VHF, UHF, and in the microwave region, we are using space wave propagation. So, in the HF, we are using sky wave propagation. Below that, we are using mainly ground wave propagation. Above HF, that is VHF, UHF, and the microwave region, we are using space wave propagation. Now we need to know what is a horizontally polarized wave and vertically polarized wave. The both horizontal and vertical polarized waves are linearly polarized waves, linearly polarized electromagnetic waves. So, a linearly polarized electromagnetic wave, if the electric field is parallel to Earth's surface, then it is known as horizontally polarized wave. And if the linearly polarized electromagnetic wave is having an electric field component perpendicular to Earth's surface, then it is a vertically polarized wave. The initial polarization of a radio wave is mainly determined by the orientation of the antenna. Consider a half-wave dipole. If the half-wave dipole is kept perpendicular to Earth's surface, then the electromagnetic wave radiated by the half-wave dipole will be vertically polarized. Suppose if the half-wave dipole is placed parallel to the Earth's surface, then the wave produced the electromagnetic wave produced will be horizontally polarized. Okay, so now we can move on to the structure of ionosphere. The structure of ionosphere is as shown in this figure. Okay, so mainly there are layers. There are layers in the atmosphere, in the ionosphere. Okay, so what is ionosphere? Ionosphere is the outer part of atmosphere where the ionization is appreciable. So there is a large ionized region above the Earth's surface. So this ionization occurs due to the UV rays, alpha, beta, gamma rays, etc. coming from the sun. The maximum ionization occurs in the region between around 50 to 400 kilometers. It is noted that there are several layers in the atmosphere. These layers are categorized based on the electron density in that region. Okay, we can see that the layers are different in daytime and nighttime. There are mainly 4 layers in the daytime. Starting from below, the D layer, E layer, F1 and F2. And in the night, there is E layer and F layer. So, there are mainly 4 layers during the daytime. D, E, F1 and F2. And 2 layers in the night, that is E and F. The skywave propagation, in skywave propagation, the radio wave incident on the ionosphere will get reflected back to the Earth's surface, thereby increasing the range. So, the structure of ionosphere, it is coming in between 50 to 400 kilometers above the Earth's surface. This figure shows the electron density in each layer. So we can see that in the D region, the electron density is very low, and going up, we can see that the electron density is continuously increasing, and beyond the F2 region, the electron density is decreasing. So the maximum electron density is present in the F2 region. So mainly the structure of ionosphere contains D region, E region and F region. So we will move on to D region. D region, it is the lowermost layer of ionosphere. It is coming around 50 to 90 kilometers above the Earth's surface. And please note that the D region only occurs during the daytime and it is absent in the nighttime. It is also known as the absorbing layer for HF. We already discussed that the electron density in the D region is very low. So, what happens is that the density of electrons in this region is not sufficient to reflect back the radio wave. So, the wave suffers attenuation while passing through this region. We have studied in the electromagnetic theory that an electromagnetic wave passing through a conducting medium attenuates. So, the electromagnetic wave will be attenuated while transmitting through a conducting medium and will not be attenuated when passing through a non-conducting or insulating medium. So, passing through this D region, the wave suffers attenuation. Okay, the next region is E region. So E region is coming just above the D region. It is coming around 90 to 140 kilometers above the Earth's surface. E region is very predominant in the skywave propagation, and it is used for HF communication. And we have seen that mainly the skywave propagation is for HF communication. The next one is sporadic E region. It is an anomalous E region, that it is an unpredictable, irregular, regional electron dense clouds happening in the height of around 90 to 140 kilometers. So it is an anomalous E region. So this is regional and unpredictable. So we cannot use the sporadic E region for long distance propagation. So sometimes it is useful because sometimes it allows unexpected good reception, but we cannot rely on this sporadic E region. So the next region is the F region. F region is coming above the E region. It is coming around 140 to 400 kilometers above the Earth's surface. This region is always ionized irrespective of the hour of the day, the season of the year. And this is the main region responsible for the skywave propagation. It facilitates long distance radio wave propagation during night hours also. As we have seen earlier, during daytime, F region is split into F1 and F2 region. The F1 region is coming from 140 km to 250 km, and F2 region from 250 km to 400 km. F2 region is the highest region having the highest electron density, and F2 region combines with the F1 region during the night. So this F region is mainly responsible for the high frequency communication. So summing up, there are 4 layers in the ionosphere during daytime and 2 layers in nighttime. The 4 layers are D, E, F1 and F2 in the daytime, and in the nighttime it is only E and F. What happens is that D layer is absent in the nighttime, and F1 and F2 layers combine in the nighttime to form a single F region. So these are the layers in the ionosphere, and this is the structure of ionosphere in the daytime and nighttime. Thank you.